the Snow Queen. Once upon a time there lived a wicked troll who invented a cursed mirror. In its reflection, everything good and beautiful appeared ugly and evil. The trolls apparent ran around the world with this mirror, and one day they decided to fly with it up into the sky. Higher and higher they fly. But suddenly the mirror slipped out of their hands, fell to earth, and smashed into a million pieces. These pieces flew across the world. Many hit people in the eye or in the heart. These unfortunate people began to see only the worst in life, and their hearts turned into pieces of ice. At that time, in a large town, there lived a young boy, Kai, and a young girl called Gerda. Their houses stood next door to each other, and the children often met on the roof. There, in wooden boxes, grew beautiful roses. Kai and Gerda were like brother and sister and loved each other very much. Kai's grandmother often had the children round to visit and would feed them delicious peas. In the winter, she would tell the story of the Snow Queen who flies around on a sleigh at night and looks in through people windows. One day, Kai and Gerda were reading a little book. "Wow!" cried out Kai. "Something just hit me in the eye, and I have a pain in my chest." It was one of the pieces of the troll's mirror. Kai's expression instantly turned into a scowl, and he shouted at Gerda, "You are so hideous! Get away from me!" From a good little boy, Kai had become full-tempered and a very angry boy. Once that winter, Kai was reading on his sledge. Suddenly in the square appeared a large white sleigh. Remembering the story of the Snow Queen, Kai hopped on his sledge and started to hurry away. But the Snow Queen's sleigh moved faster, catching Kai and carrying the young boy far away to the north. Nobody knew where Kay had disappeared. To everyone, too, that he had perished. But Gerda did not believe this and set off in search of him. Wandering around, she came across a little house in which there lived a kind old sorceress. However, this old man hated living on her own and so cast a spell on the young girl, making her forget about Kai. In her garden, she destroyed all the roses so that nothing would remind the young girl of her friend. However, through forgetfulness, the old sorceress left one rose in her straw hat. When Gerda saw this rose, she remembered Kai and again set off in search of him. At that time, winter was drawing in. Poor Gerda was utterly exhausted and sat down on a tree stump to rest. A crow was hopping around in the snow in front of her. It watching the young girl for a long time and in the end said, Coco, hello, where are you wandering off to all on your own? The young girl told the crow her sad story. Coco, hey, said the crow, not long ago our princess married a handsome young man. He came to her in simple clothes. It's Kai, said Gerda, clapping her hands together. Let me to the palace immediately. The crow knew all the secret passage in the palace and led Gerda straight to the prince's bedroom. Gerda woke up to the bed in which the prince was sleeping. Wake up, Kai! She disappeared into his ear. The prince opened his eyes and looked at her. It was not Kai. Also, he did look a lot like him. Gerda told the prince and princess her sad story. They sympathized with the poor girl and allowed her to stay with them. Having rested, Gerda started preparing for the road ahead. The prince and the princess gave Gerda a golden carriage filled with fruit and sweet food and gave her beautiful clothes. However, as Gerda was riding through the forest, robbers saw the golden carriage and attacked it. The daughter of the robber chief took Gerda prisoner and led her away to her robbers' hideaway. There wood pagans sat perched in cages, and there was a reindeer tied to a post. Sitting by the bonfire, Gerda told the robber chief's daughter about Kai. The wood pigeon listened and heard story. We have seen Kai, they said. The Snow Queen carried him past on her way to Lapland. In Lapland there lies everlasting snow and ice, and such wonders did the reindeer. The robber chief daughter felt sorry for Gerda. She released the reindeer and ordered it to carry Gerda to Lapland. For a long time, the reindeer sped through the snow tundra. Everything was getting colder. After 3 days, they reached the wooden cabin of an old fishing woman. Kai is indeed in the Snow Queen's kingdom, she said, but he is content and thinks that there can be no better place for him. It is the pieces of the troll's mirror which sit in his heart and eyes which have made him like this. The reindeer asked the Finnish woman to help Gerda and to give her the strength of 12 mighty heroes. I cannot make Gerda stronger than she is, answered the Finnish woman. It is her love which will help her to save Kai. The reindeer carried Gerda to the very last bus, which bore red berries. Then the poor girl was left very alone, without sticks, boots, or mittens in the beating frost. She ran ahead as fast as she could until at the last she reached the Snow Queen's palace. In one of halls, in the middle of the frozen lake, Gerda saw Kai. He had turned blue and even slightly black from the cold, but he could not feel a thing. From small shards of ice, Kai was trying to lie down on the floor. The word eternity, the Snow Queen had told him that only when he had spelled eternity could be his own master again, but he could not finish the word. My dear Sky, at last I have found you, no, cried out Gerda, but Kai did not recognize her. He just sat and looked at the sharp eyes. Gerda held Kai in her arms and cried. Her hot tears fell on Kai's chest and sunk to his heart, which started to thaw. Kai shuddered, and then Elsa started also to cry. With this tear, the other pieces of the mirror fell from his eyes. Gerda, where are we? What is this place? Said Kai. It is so cold, said Kai. Let's run away from here. Kai threw aside the pieces of the ice which had been in his heart and eyes, and as they fell to the ground, they completed the world eternity. The Snow Queen's curse no longer held Kai prisoner, and he was free to return at home. On the way home, Kai and Gerda met the reindeer and the robber's daughter. They talking. They stayed for a while with the prince and princess and visited the kind of sources. Then the children returned home. However, their adventure had lasted so long that they were now adults. Kai and Gerda sat on a bench near their rose boxes and held each other in each other's arms. Now they thought only about one another and forgot about the pieces of the troll's mirror and the Snow Queen, as if they had just awakened from a deep sleep. I wish you to have a very, very, very nice sleep. Good night.